For now, let's talk about the major cupola. We're going to go right up into the major cupola, which is right up there, and we're going to fill in some of the blanks that I opened up outside of the church. Now I have to walk on the roof to get up there, so I'll meet you there in just a little bit. So here we are in the cupola of the Basilica, a great place to understand where the title of Mary, Help of Christians comes from historically. For us, it's primarily a spiritual invocation of Mary, and of course that's true. But it began to evolve over many centuries, starting from the awareness of Mary's help for her Christian people in various situations of threat and danger. The artwork that covers the cupola is called The Glories of Mary, and the three major historical episodes where Mary manifested herself as the help of Christians are depicted therein. And so, briefly, a word about each of these historical moments. The first takes us back to 1571, to the Battle of Lepanto, a naval battle where the Ottoman forces threatened really the invasion and the destruction of Christian Europe. Their forces predominantly outweighed the capacities of the Pope and the Christian West. The Pope at the time was Pope Pius V, and so he amassed what he called the Holy League. He had all of the kings of Europe, the Catholic kings, put their naval powers together to face the Ottoman threat. In addition, the Pope asked that all Catholics pray the Rosary, invoking Mary's help in this battle that seemed literally an impossible battle. The long and short of it is, the Christian forces won and the threat was dispelled. That was the first episode in which Mary's intervention, her closeness to her people in time of need, began to resonate in the Church. In thanksgiving for her intervention in that battle, what did Pope Pius V do? Something that maybe we've said countless times but didn't realize it comes from this historical moment. In thanksgiving for Mary's help, Pope Pius V added an invocation to the Litany of Loreto, namely, Mary, Help of Christians, pray for us. The second historical intervention of Mary as Help of Christians came just over 100 years after the Battle of Lepanto. It was 1683, and the Ottoman threat was menacing the destruction of Vienna, and from Vienna, the rest of Europe. In this situation, it was the Polish king, John Sobieski, who invoked the help of Mary, and again, the forces of the West, the Christian West, proved victorious. The third intervention of Mary as help of Christians takes us back to 1814. In 1808, Napoleon had invaded Rome, and he took poor Pope Pius VII hostage for 5 years. First in Savona, Italy, near Genoa, but that didn't work too well for Napoleon because the Pope proved to be a rock star there. He attracted a lot of sympathies for the papacy and generated a lot of anti-French sentiments. And so Napoleon whisked him away to France, where he held him hostage at Fontainebleau Palace. Well, guess what day it was when the Pope was finally released? May 24th, 1814. The Pope obviously saw Mary's helping hand in his liberation. So he returned to Rome, and in gratitude for Mary's help, he went first on a personal pilgrimage to Savona, where he crowned the statue of Our Lady of Mercies. And then in September of 1815, he's depicted in the painting here. With one hand, he is pointing to Mary Help of Christians, and in the other hand, he's holding the document, the papal bull, by which he took the memorial of Mary Help of Christians and elevated it to the rank of a feast for the Church, a feast that we celebrate every year ever since on May 24th. One last episode where Mary intervened historically as help of Christians bears mentioning. It's not depicted here, but it has a lot to do with the growth of the devotion to Mary Help of Christians in the time of Don Bosco. It happened in 1862, 1 year after the unification of Italy, and 1 year before Don Bosco began digging the foundations for this church. It was in the town of Spoleto, in the region around Perugia. This ancient, unnamed image of Mary in a dilapidated church spoke to a boy. And he told people about this, and people flocked there, and they received graces and favors. The Bishop of Spoleto was very sympathetic to this. And as the church had become a pilgrimage site and the image of Mary was speaking to so many, he decreed that that nameless image be named Mary Help of Christians. Now, Spoleto was also the see where Pope Pius IX had been bishop before being elevated to the papacy. So this was also seen as significant. The church and the state of Italy were in very tense times. Secularization was undoing a lot of ancient papal and ecclesial prerogatives, and so the church was seen as being under attack. And so this intervention of Mary in Spoleto, where Pope Pius IX had been bishop, was seen as her coming to assist him, to encourage him in the task of leading the church.